So, why on earth do you want to do a sphere inside a 2D program? It's kinda absurd if you think about it, because it is. Some people will say, but you could just put a mass on a circle and run a texture across it. I know, right? But where's the fun in that? And also, don't worry, I will tell you some objects that you might want to apply this. Or you can just stick around, follow this tutorial, and just expand the use of this yourself. Good luck, and yep. So in order for us to make our sphere, we need first our main artmesh. Take note of this. This will only cover the half of the sphere, so you might want to duplicate it or duplicate the shape and edit the details. So I made a mini circle. I would call them mini circle, although it is large. These mini circles will pull uh, the circle into the z-axis, like in the formula of a sphere, right? So let me do this. So let me demonstrate to you how should I approach this. So if we hide the mini circles, we can see in our art mesh we have this outline right here, and it will be ragged, I think, in Live2D, but I would like to prevent that, so I am going to copy the overall circumference of this main art and make a mini circle. I would call it 100% because it has the same circumference as our main art. And then I would go Ctrl T to transform, and then reduce it to 99%. So that's our 99%. And then let me duplicate the 100% again for our 98%. So now our 99% will be at that point, 98 will be at the inner outline of the circle. So now it's up to you, or it depends on the art mesh. How would you want it as smooth as you want it to be? In my case, I would just use 5 mini circles. And now we're done. Oh, I didn't stick to the 5 mini circles that I've said to, but anyway, so here they are. I did 99%, 98%, 80%, 60%, 40%, 35, and then 20. So now that we are done with the mini circles that will pull the main art on the z-axis, we'll just have to hide those, and we will make a guide for art mesh slash vertices making. Let's use block and control J, control T, duplicate, and then transform. So now you can see where I'm going with this. It is for a guide so that we won't have to figure out where should we put the points perfectly, or like spread properly the points throughout the circumference. We've made our guidelines, the main art, and then the mini circles. So yeah, let us save this. So anyways, here we are. We have the guidelines and our main art. So I'm just gonna edit our main art. And then I'll just go from there to here vertically, then play operation. Then from here to the midpoint around there, and in here. Yep. And now I just make this another guidelines visible, and we're off to setting vertex points. Making the guide like this make sure that the vertex point is spread out throughout the circumference or the outline, because we are using limited number of vertices, unlike in 3D modeling wherein it uses a lot more vertex points to assume or to approach sphere shape an object. So yeah, you can increase the vertex points if you wanted to, but in this tutorial I will just use this amount of points. There we go. And it's now done. And once it is done, you can just hide the guidelines and copy the vertices of our original art, and then paste it on the mini circle 99%. Shrink the art mesh by holding Shift and Alt, as you can see. Alt Shift drag. Then just do it in every mini circles that you made. Now we made an art mesh for each mini circles that we have, as you can see. And then now we're just gonna copy one mini circle at a time. Now we're just gonna paste it into our main art. So just delete the center point, as you can see, and there we go. So at our last mini circle, I wouldn't delete the center point. This should be the process of our vertices making. And then now we should glue the main circle to the mini circles one at a time again. I forgot to mention you should delete the center point, because it might glue with the center point of the main art on the mini circles. So yeah, let's just glue the main art on the 99% mini circle. So just go for the art mesh edit mode, and then Control A, and then bind. So that should bind, since it is also in the same exact vertex position. So just Control A and then bind. So now we can see we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7 glues for 7 mini circles. So now what I'm gonna do is disable the glue first, and then I'll make a temporary keyframe and move the main art to the left, so that we can see how we should, and then I enabled the glue, so now we can see how we should move the glue. So what you wanted to see is that the mini circle should remain in place earlier, like go back in its place, and then the main art would follow its position even though it's in this position, in this keyform. So I can see that it is green, so there we go. I clicked the red and the points did go there in the position of the 99%. So it means that I click and drag with the right weight, so it is green, it goes back, and then it just depends on whatever color the Live2D puts it. So just, yeah, so you could drag or shift drag, as you can see. And our outer circle or our outer points are not binded to anything, so it remains like that. See, and now that it is done, it is glue, and the mini circle has higher priority. We should create a folder first, and then now we should create a warp deformer for Z. So original Z. So let's go for the deformer. Original Z has deformer 99. Just create a Z deformer for every mini circles that you had. Now we have that. We could now create 5 points for 380-degree rotation. So at 0 it will be just the default, at 15 it would turn 90 degree, and at positive 30 it would turn positive 180, and then same goes back. As you can see, I am holding shift when turning the warp. Oops, that's way too far. And then as you can see, it is shrinking in between, so we can fix that by selecting one of the vertex corners, turning on the orbit, and then show on modeling, and then turn on the standard interpolation, and then just move the scale and whichever you want, what value you want, as long as it approach a circular path, it should be good, right? There we go. It still wobbles, but not that but not that much. So we'll just put the warps this to a folder, Z warps. There we go. And then those Z warps will have parents of either Y or X. So for this tutorial we will do the X. It really doesn't matter which way you go. It only matters or depends on what function you want it to be. And now we have our X deformers. I'll just put them in a folder, X, and then yep, and then we'll just deform onto X, so and then make 5 points again for 360 rotation. You could just do 3 points for 180, but in this case we wanna go ham, right? So yeah. And also remember our 100% mini circle. We should it would act as a guide for our warps deformer. Now it is as compressed as much, so you could also hold Alt when dragging so that it would remain in the anchor. I mean in the center. There we go. So at 15 it would turn 90, right? So let's extend this. As you can see, since we only use 7 mini circles and some values jump so quickly, like from 98, 99, 98 and to 90. As you can see, we should actually jump from 98 to somewhere like 95 so that it would be much bigger. Recommend stretching this when it's already been made because could distort the overall circumference. As you can see, it turns an oblong shape, so that is bad. So that's why we have to consider how many circles do we want to use, how many mini circles do we want to use that would pull our circle into z-axis. So our 80% is not really that good because we jump from 98 to 80. So yeah, and this is the result. It stretch out the insignia or designs. So now we'll just have to follow the circumference. The lower the count of mini circles is, the more steep it could be, or the more pointy it could be. As you can see, if you add more mini circles, it would approach a circle like how 3D modeling does. I mean, like how many 3D modeling has on a sphere. I think we should be good for this one. So as you can see, I added a interpolation for that as well because it has to turn like a sphere, right? Because without it, as you can see, it turns like flat in the middle and then straight up like that. So we want to avoid that by going in extended interpolation ellipse and increase it a little bit. Then at this 30 it would turn 180, so it's just the reflected circle. So reflect horizontally, then reflect horizontally. So now we have our half sphere from a circle. It's still not done. You have to make a sphere, right? So what we wanna do is group our mini circles, main art, and then the warps and the glues. I'll just name it 1. So that's the first half. Then Control C, Control V. You could actually select this so that it wouldn't branch out quickly. And then when pasting, you should select one part of the root and then just paste it. There we go. We should turn this 180. negative 180, as you can see, and then now we could delete this. But there is a little bit confusion like right here, so we could, one way is turning on the calling, but if we turn on the calling of the main art, so we should make the many circles invisible, as you can see. So now, since the calling is on, it disappears. So how could we fix that? One solution is that we would, this default, as you can see, the stars multiplies in number and the signs overlaps. It means it's bad, right? Because there's transparency. So we could copy the 0 onto the 30-degree, Control Shift C, Control Shift V, and then since the disappearance, right, at negative 30 it disappears, and at 30 before it disappears, right? So we could just copy the negative 30 wherein it disappears onto the origin and copy the last form, paste. So yeah, that's how you do it on a calling method. And also, by the way, when using calling, as you can see, it does not circulate in Z in a correct way. So what we could do is select the Z warps of the second group, second half, and just reflect. Right click, reflect. There we go. Alright, so now we have a sphere. So how could this be even useful? So for example, use this for effects, right? For umbrellas, maybe for a hat. Could be used for something like a background. Yes, you heard me right, a background terrain. So I've got this idea from Mikuni 202. You should definitely check this out. Link in the description. She uses a I think it's galaxy terrain thing. So yeah, so we could just mimic that scenario by copying this and then pasting it on the root part. So we could hide the first sphere. We could call this grass, and then grass. And what we could do is go for project, and then model guide image. Where is the grass? To be grass, so I could just replace the input image. As you can see, the first sphere is not affected at all when we copied and replace the input image. So yeah, just do it, model guide image, and then set as input image for selected artmesh, and yeah. So yeah, that's all. Thanks for watching. I have more tutorials to come up, so make sure to subscribe or just follow me on Twitter. It's me, Nafigo, so I hope you expand the use of this. See ya!